Hey guys, it's Sean here, your low brass specialist, and today is a very special day because I am joined by the incomparable, phenomenal Gail Robertson. How are you, Gail?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So you just this year started teaching euphonium at Indiana University Jacobs School of Music?
I did.
Yeah, so how's that been going for you so far?
Been great. I make the travel once a week. I've been here 7 weeks. Got a couple more left. Got the routine down. I teach at my other university, Central Arkansas, and then come in here and I do Thursday, Fridays, and then I go home and get my energy back and start all over again.
How are you adjusting to, having to make that trip every week?
Well, I think a lot of times we are built for being busy. And I know that I've been a busy person my whole life. And I remember when I was a student here at IU, because I'm an alumni from here, Harvey Phillips asked me the very important question in an early lesson. He said, if you needed help with something, you had two kinds of people you could ask. You had the person who's super busy and they're running around like kind of crazy, like a chicken with their head cut off. And then you have the person who's got free time. You can probably call them now, they're watching TV. And he said, who would you ask? And I thought, wow, it's the person I can call right now that's watching TV. No. So he said that busy was good. So, it's funny, I think back to that a lot, being in this room, my office, or where my office is right next to where we had our lessons with Harvey Phillips. I think about that day because the busier people I know are the ones I can call and I'll reach. I know I can text you and you'll write back because you're a busy person too. So the people that are watching TV, yeah, they're not answering back. So.
They're going to keep watching TV.
Yeah, but you balance. I think it's a matter of good planning. I'm someone who lives by my Google Calendar on my phone, and I know where I'm supposed to be. I like making a schedule of where I don't know. I wish I still had it, but I had this to-do list thing I had that was 2 pages. It had like 30 things on it that I just chipped away. And right now I almost feel a little bit bored because I don't have as much to do. But it's still a lot. But I've had guest artists. I mean, I think that the hardest part about the whole job is the travel. I think coming here, I rolled into Bloomington last night around 2:30 in the morning and start my lessons here. I'm smart. Normally I start at 8 o'clock in Arkansas. I start at 8 a.m. Here I'm only starting at 10:30. I think I start 10:20. But tomorrow 8 o'clock studio class. So.
Wow.
So it helps. I do get a little bit of rest. And I teach. I teach starting 10:30, then I go to about 4 or 5. Actually, it goes 5:15 now, and then tomorrow's 8 to about 3, and then I'll head back to the airport and I go home. Yeah, I would say if I complain about anything, it's hard to get time to practice because I'm either teaching or I'm traveling. So that's the harder part too. So and on the weekend, I think you get where you've done 5 days of really really high, lots of lessons, and I think that makes it harder.
Yeah, your mental energy probably isn't, even if you've got the time, the mental energy is a little low.
I'm not someone who likes to sleep on the plane. I'm on the computer working, and I'm just always getting something done. Writing music. I had to write a couple pieces over the past 6 weeks. I wrote some unaccompanied solo, so most of those have been done on the airplane. So
here's something I've been wondering. So you are a performer, you're an educator, you are a composer, arranger. Is there anything that you would love to do more of if you had the time, or something you would like to explore more of as it relates to euphonium playing, euphonium music, etc.?
yeah, it's a good question. I feel like the only thing missing in my life is it'd be great to play in a jazz combo, to play in a regular jazz group that met weekly or something that played maybe every other week, maybe at a club or somewhere. And then there's not a lot of, I think there's probably way more freelance musicians probably in Little Rock than there would be probably in Conway, Arkansas. So I think that's missing. When I first got the job at UCA, there was a faculty brass quintet. So I liked that, playing with other people kind of thing, because this kind of job can get not lonely, but you're teaching, you're doing one-on-one private lessons. I mean, I do have the brass band of Battle Creek and then the Athena brass band. And of course, then there's Stacy Baker and I, we do our duo, but that's not every week. So for the longest time in Arkansas, I would go across the bridge and go play over at this place called Toadsuck Bugs.
It's funny you said that. I never knew what the name was from. I was at a conference once and I was rifling through the sheet music for sale, like the tuba quartets or something like that. And I saw your name on a piece, and it was called Toadsuck Buck Polka.
Oh, you did see that?
And so I bought it just because it said Gail Robertson on it.
Have
And
y'all played it?
I've never asked you about it, and I have never played it. But I've had it for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. It's like leapfrogs. Well, I mean, what happens in Arkansas is I do an Oktoberfest there that we do. It's across at that place, at that restaurant. And Ken Buck and Deb Buck are the owners of that restaurant, and they feed my whole studio, which is sometimes alumni play and come join us. It might be 30 people, and they'll feed us. And so every year I've written a polka in the name of one of the goofy towns we have. So we've got the Toadsuck Buck polka, we have the Turkey Scratch polka, we have Seed Tick polka, we have this year's was the Snowball polka, which hides. It's got like an evil dum da da dum dum da da dum dum da da dum bam 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 and dum da da dum dum. But it's fun. I mean, it's after a name of one of the towns we have in Arkansas, which is interesting.
That's really cool.
This year was almost going to be the 56 polka, and I was going to write like one bar of 5/4 and maybe a bar in 6/8. But I had 9 freshmen in my studio this year. I thought, I don't know that I want to do a mixed meter polka on the first gig in September, because that's early. It was really early in the semester, the Oktoberfest this year. Yeah. Normally it's in October or November when it's not so blazing hot, but based on the football schedule.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of football schedules, IU is undefeated.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine. You're contracted for this school year currently at IU. What kind of things are you looking forward to this year? What kind of stuff is coming up already that?
Well, I'm on a semester-to-semester basis, and I'm in the process of getting the next semester, so that's all set. We have 8 days of Oktoberfest happening here in the next, starting tonight, so there's going to be a whole bunch of Oktober things every night. We've got students are playing like mixed on different recitals, so I'll hear several of them. We have mock audition we're going to do because there's going to be a Nine Heaven kind of piece coming up here for Strauss with the orchestra. We've got some Zoom guest artists. We got Bonnie Denton's going to Zoom the studio here from where she is. We got some different things. Next semester we'll have a studio recital. And hopefully we may have a guest artist that's coming in next semester. I'm working on some ideas for that. The students are super dedicated. I mean, no one is late. Everyone is totally prepared. I offer a certain kind of structure that's with a sheet of what we're doing from week to week and all that. I use a receipt book kind of thing like that, and they seem to like that. So it's going good. Yeah, but not a whole lot of things planned future-wise because I don't know, beyond next year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I know that I personally am thrilled to have you in Indiana. And I know kind of the brass community at large is as well. How does it feel to be here back where kind of you started in college, years ago?
Well, my undergraduate was at University of Central Florida. And my professor of trombone that I studied with there was a guy named Roy Pickering, and he was an IU grad. And he had my colleague who was a year older than me, Paul Weichel, who was a tuba student. And I applied to come here because it was where he did his master's, and Harvey Phillips was here. So yeah, when I got accepted to come here, that was a really big deal to be a student. Did I ever think I would be teaching here? No. And I'm a dream big kind of a person. My mom remembers me walking down the streets and Disney World saying, "Where are the girls? How come there's no girls in the band?" I did 10 years playing out Disney. Did I ever think I'd be in the band there? I think I did that. But did I think I'd ever teach at IU? I didn't know I would have a doctorate degree someday. I really didn't know. I didn't know I'd be a university professor. When I was here as a student, it was like, 1987, 88, and I graduated in 89. I was wanting to be in the military band. I wanted to be in the military band. And I left here and then went to University of Maryland and started a doctorate there briefly with Brian Bowman. And then got that phone call, and then I left, and then who knows? So then I didn't even know what a CV was, because none of the classes we had for that. So I wasn't on the path, I guess, to be a university professor until Valencia Community College called me. Actually, no, it was Seminole Community College called me when I was working at Disney and asked me if I'd teach one student. And then I thought, wow, this is pretty cool being a professor. So I went back to school 12 years ago, I guess, and did my doctorate after being out of school like 20-something years. So I don't know, being back here.
Michigan State University,
yes,
right?
Yeah, I did go to Michigan State, yeah. But, I don't know. This job wasn't here. So the position, when the position became available for me, I was delighted to be asked to come do this. And it's an honor, you know. And they're housing me in a house that I walk down the same exact street. That 501 South Highland is where I lived as a grad student here, and I walk past that, and it's really kind of weird. And then there's the Mother Bear's Pizza here that when my first week I taught here, I went and I had dinner at Mother Bear's. And I went there and I was looking at the menu and I thought, oh my gosh, I can get more than one topping. I could get two. I could get three toppings because I'm not a broke college student. I got my own little personal pizza by myself and I got three toppings.
Oh my goodness.
And it might seem weird, but when I was a student here, I mean, I think my stipend was $210 was my stipend. My rent was $150, which was cheap, you know. And I had $60 or $70 I could spend for food. So yeah, you ate a lot of that macaroni and cheese stuff. You had the chicken pot pies, which were 4 for $1. You know, you ate very basic. And if you went to Mother Bear's, you'd save some money throughout the week to go, yeah. And you did. You got the $4 Long Island iced tea that was on special that night, and you got a pizza with one topping. And that's about all you could get. So I went back to Mother Bear's. And then the other thing was funny. When I was here, there was a store I always admired downtown in Bloomington. It was that outdoor store that's like got the canoes on the roof and all that. I went back there to see if that store was still there, and it was. And I always wanted to buy something in that store. I went and I bought this bracelet. And this bracelet says, it's funny, I'm wearing it today, Strength and Grace. And it was from that dang store there that has like kayaks and all the outdoor things that no on earth would I spend $70 on a shirt, right? So, but yeah, I could go there and buy whatever I wanted, and I chose the bracelet. So, but anyway.
Well,
So, yeah.
Those are two very apt descriptors.
Yeah, I know. I didn't,
opinion.
Strength and Grace. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so being back here, I think it is surreal. You know, when I'm in this room here and I think about, I studied over in that room right there. I hear Dan Parentoni over here teaching next to me. I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. When you think of Indiana University School of Music, you think of so many legendary names, and you know, I think that yours is every bit as legendary, and so it's a welcome addition. So Gail, along with Stacy Baker, the phenomenal tuba player, are part of a duet called Symbiosis Duo, who was at Pages for our second annual Tuba Euphonium Day, you might remember. But you have a new album coming out?
We do. We recorded our third CD this summer in May, and then it's been in production or edited, whatever. And we have a wonderful guest artist. Our wonderful artist is Eduardo Nogarola's wife, Vicky.
Oh, okay.
And so she did our cover design and all that. So we were patient, you know, waiting on our artwork, and we got all that. And I did have that with me, but I don't think I have it with me today. But yeah, so we have our artwork. Eduardo Nogarolos wrote the title piece. It's called Dreams, Dances, and Destinations. And it's got all like new composed music on there. I don't think there's any transcriptions. It's all newly pieces. A couple of my own pieces I composed are on there. You know, Dr. Stacy Baker is a rock star tuba player. She can play just about anything you give her. One of my favorite pieces that's on there was written from my best friend, Willie Clark, who retired from the Air Force Band, and it's a piece called Funk Centric, which is all about Willie. He's nighttime Willie. You know, it's all with electronic play-along tracks. We didn't play that at the store. I think we might be recording a couple pieces we played at the store that were on there, but. So yeah, there's a lot of great music on there. We commissioned Eduardo, then Joanna Hersey Ross. I think I actually looked that up before you say it. But Joanna Hersey wrote a piece for us called Nanon, which is an electronic piece where it's a fixed media piece where you have freedom. It's a map that you actually read from it. You go different places. You might have seen, there's some other ones she's done, but so like Stacy starts out we at the chapel, whatever, and I see her and I kind of follow her, and then you kind of go different places, but there's a theme for each of the different locations.
Yeah, and I think I saw you perform that at the Midwest Regional.
That's right, yeah.
It's very, very cool.
But every time you play that, it's different because it's chance music, you could say. So we've got that on there. I mean, there's a lot of really great pieces on there. So I mean, we feel delighted. Then there's our one of our great composer friends who's written something for all three of our CDs is Mr. T.O. Starrett. And he wrote a great piece that's, the first CD had a piece for Florida, which is the Florida Orchids. The second piece had Kentucky Delights, because that's where Stacy is. And then this one is an Arkansas piece that's called Blanchard's Caverns. Fantasy is the name of it, and so we have that on there. So yeah, we're very fortunate. And so our pianists that are on there are actually the original pianists too. It was T.O. Starrett and then Alex Theo are on the CD. So super lucky us. And our same engineer, David Henderson, did that. I don't know if you want all this on there or not, but David Henderson is the same person that mastered all of our CDs. And it was all done at Morehead State University.
So Gail Robertson, professor, performer, arranger, composer, overall amazing person, legend in her own right. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
How embarrassing, but thank you.